Good morning. Today is Thursday the 5th of August, and first of all let me apologise in advance if the picture gets a little bit shaky or blurry or anything like that. There's not much I can do about that. That would be my shaky hand, which happens pretty much all the time, especially when I'm working hard and so on. This is what we did last year. We had this area, it goes all the way up by the lane. It goes around the back of the house and more. So this had to be cleared. It was kind of like a field. We cleared it. We've looked after it through the year. Left that, and it's now looking really good. This is what it looks like now. It actually hasn't been cut for about a month because we haven't been here for that long. But you can see this is how much it's growing in the summer. In a month, there is quite a bit of green. I don't know how much of that you can see. That wasn't there last year. Anyway, that was last year. I wanted to show you what we're going to be doing this year so that it doesn't come as a total surprise when I show you some more videos. Project this year is the field. This is our field. Now the total size of the field plus land is a little garden area is 5 acres. So I don't know, what's this field? 3.5, 4, something like that acres, and it doesn't look too bad, I expect, from here, but it does have a lot to do and a lot of work there. I'll show you some of that now. So here we are right at the bottom, and what you never see, I never show these are 3 big buildings. The 2 on the right, they have holes in them and all of it, and they are for drying tobacco, and it's also where they put it into boxes or something. I don't know exactly what they do, but it kind of gets put into boxes and shipped off, very well hidden from us. And I'm actually down here though to show you this. This is something that was cut, I don't know, it was here about 6 weeks ago, I think. It's a fire break. Now we have this ours on this side, and there's one on the other side as well. Fires here, if you might have seen on the news recently, if you're watching this now, this week, lots of fires in Turkey. They have a lot in Portugal, especially, and other places. Greece, I think, at the moment. And we get the same problem here. But we're actually quite lucky because a lot of it is farmland, and you can see what it looks like. It's not so bad, but we also have these wooded areas, and we are about an hour and a half from Portugal. So what you see in Portugal, we have the same risks here, and we have to take a lot of care. What I would have liked to have done is cut the field, but it's not, we can't. It's a combination of money and things, but if it was cut, it would have to be done by hand. We can't get a tractor in to do it because what you can't see is the land is not even a little bit flat. So what we would probably have to do is get a cultivator in or something and flatten it out first, and then we'd have no grass for a year, things like that. So that's the situation there. Anyway, I'll keep walking up the field and show you. We're working mostly at the top this year, so I'll show you what's been going on so far. On the way, just briefly to show you, this is tobacco. This is what it looks like when it's growing. Maybe you've never seen it. I hadn't till I came here. There's a quickie of the horse. This is what keeps a lot of the field controlled. Actually quite a small part, to be honest with you. That's why when you look around here, some of it is really short. Not all of it is, because a lot of this stuff is really weeds, not grass, and he won't eat that. I'll show you that on the way up. You can probably see it here. It really is, it's not grass at all. Well, I suppose there's grass mixed in with it, but it's basically these sort of big weed things, which are really hard to cut as well, by the way. But not so many of them at the top, thank goodness, because I'm the one who would have to cut them. I can't cut this, not now. If you wait to like the end of August, this will be drier, and I might cut it then, I don't know. So this is what the horse doesn't eat. Doesn't eat this. It doesn't eat what's at the top. Just his favourite bits. About halfway, maybe. And I don't know if you can tell, but this is edible. The horse would eat this, but it's shorter because the field is not so not as well watered. There's less water up here, and so there's less weeds, more grass. Anyway, it can be quite green in places, so he sort of visits, but he tends to stay at the bottom. So not a lot of this has been eaten. I wonder if I can show you a place where, let me show you this bit. Excuse the wobble. This, it kind of looks like the horse might have flattened it, but what happens, it grows very, very long, gets very, very dry, and falls over. The grass just falls over like that, completely flat. The horse can't eat it. When it gets really flat, it's pretty much impossible to cut. And because it does it every year, I don't know how well you can see it, but what happens, it falls over, it goes flat. Because of how it makes a carpet, if you like, but it's not mulch, it doesn't rot quickly enough. So it will start to rot, and then the next year's grass, so this, falls over on top of it and never quite finishes decomposing. So you get, it's like a carpet of layers of grass, really. I don't know how many years it takes to completely go, but because it's going down on top like this every year, it's just like it's horrible. And underneath, I don't know if you can tell, it's black, and that can make the horse ill. It's sort of, I don't know what it is, but on places it actually looks like it's been on fire. It's crazy, and doesn't help the horse at all. So that would be one reason perhaps to cut the grass. Then you wouldn't get this flat, and it would rot properly or decompose properly, making a mulch. And that would be a lot better overall for the land. At the moment, this falling over does nothing for anybody, including the horse. I don't know how well you can see it, but this is what I cut yesterday, the field, by hand, with a grass trimmer thing. Not for fire break, but because we're trying to improve the land. However, there is a bit of a fire break over here. Let me take you. Now, I don't know if there's an actual beginning and end, but basically the fire break goes from the fence backwards, and you can see, okay, it was cut about 6 weeks ago to about here, and I'm cutting it a bit extra right here. So some places more than others. Again, you can just see it's basically just hay and straw lying down. It's been cut, but it's just lying on the floor. So what we've got to do is this and this there, like that. So this is our this morning job. We were raking. So we're raking from the fire break. Let's go through the stages, if you like. You've got the long grass, which it has to cut, and then you've got lots of long grass, this lying on the ground. That has to be, you remove that, and then you go over again and cut it a second time. If you cut it twice, makes a kind of mulch with the straw stroke hay, that stuff. So if you cut it again, cut it, do the second cut with that lying on the floor, it just cuts that up into small pieces, which you can't rake very easily. So the thing is, cut it once, rake it. Cut it again, probably not rake it again. But that's what's going on here. Now, last year, the farmers, they came up here, and they have for several years, they came up here with, I don't know if it was a plough, I think it was a plough, but they cut a very, very wide fire break for us, which we didn't ask them to do. We didn't want them to do it. They just opened their gate somehow. They had a key. They came in, and they just ploughed all the way around the field, except for on the left there. So making a massive fire break, and they've been doing that year after year, and nothing's been planted there. So none of this would have been growing. But this year we're cutting it, so they're not ploughing it. And so, but we've got to do a good job. You can't do half a job. That's a dead end anyway down there. I wanted to say that's also where the village is. It's about, oh, I don't know, 15, 20 houses, very small. They have migrant workers who stay there every summer. Or, yeah, well, spring to autumn anyway. They work there. They come mostly from Morocco. It's a dead end. That's the village. We got another village about, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes away by car. It's a little bit bigger. It has got a shop, but it's tiny. Anyway. So top of the field, and this, exactly where I'm standing here, and sort of a bit bigger than, but sort of where that black stuff is, which isn't burnt. That's the colour of whatever was growing there when it died, whatever it was. It went black. I have no idea what it's called. Anyway, you can see from what's here, there's no grass lying on the floor where I've cut it. There's nothing of nothing pretty much, and there is nothing grows here. When the summer finishes and the dead grass is gone, it's going to be almost like dirt. You just get a few weeds growing, and that's all, because this is the top of the hill, and they, over the years, the water's washed away a lot of the topsoil. So what was at the top is what you see, kind of. I mean, there's not a lot of soil. It's very stony. You can see there's lots and lots of stones lying on the floor. Now what we are doing, I'm going to cut the grass. I'm going to go further down. We're going to, at the end of the summer, when fire risk is gone, I will be bringing dead grass up from down there and putting it down up here as a kind of mulch. And we're going to keep doing that just to try and replace or put back or increase or whatever the biomass of this top of the field, to try and make it a little bit more fertile. The other thing we're talking about doing, but we haven't quite figured out how, we think it'll be happening in the autumn, so sort of October, November, is to dig, we've got to do all this by hand, is to dig a trench, a very shallow, small trench, and it follows the contour of the hill that we're standing on. And what happens then is, as the water goes down the hill, it hits the trench and it slows down or stops before going on down. It's not going to wash away the topsoil so quickly. So you can do that. We can use some of these stones and put them along that trench to help to slow it down, but we do need stones at the bottom for the raised beds. So whatever happens, we're going to be picking up a lot of these stones. We'll move them in, put them in piles, and then think about exactly what we're going to do with them. Whether we're going to take them down the bottom. We've got a trolley thing we can put them in that carries up to half a ton, so if we can pull it. Carries as much as this, pull it by hand, so you know, it carries what we can pull. Anyway, I don't know if any of that made sense, but that's our plan anyways, to start improving the top of the field. We don't have to, we're not going to use it. Maybe the horse will start eating grass. If it's up here, she'll start eating it. God knows. But whatever it is, it's a way, it's not nice to look at either. We just want to improve it. We like to think when we leave, we'll leave something behind that's nice, that's done well, and things like that. We tried to look for help on the internet, and it's very difficult finding stuff, but it seems to be what we can find seems to be do what I'm talking about doing here. Somehow